Hello there. You know what's up? It's Honest Hip Hop here with a banana. And in case you're not aware, the old man's mad again, and he's kind of coming at everybody. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, last night Eminem dropped a surprise full studio album, and I think we all kind of knew it was going to be filled with some rage, some anger. So I listened to it multiple times actually. I did have class in the morning, but it was intro to religion, so hearing some girl go on a tangent for 40 minutes is possible on 3 hours of sleep. So I gave it a couple listens, wrote you guys a review, and we're just gonna go through it. So first, kind of the song that was drawing all the hype, one of the two songs was The Ringer, and there's only two songs on here that I really liked, like that I will listen to probably again, and this was one of them, because I don't know, it was just kind of a cool concept, I guess. It was just kind of, I mean, it wasn't like a groundbreaking concept, but it was kind of cool to hear him just flex his lyrical ability that he still has, some of it. Sometimes he goes too far and he tries to use his wordplay, and I think he has such a technical ear that it sounds good to him, and it doesn't translate to the listener, but that's a whole different story. So this one was cool. I mean, he took some interesting shots. Like, sorry, I gotta check the notes because I get confused who he roasted. I think this is the one where he kind of just went at like Lil Xan and Lil Pump, which is kind of like an overplayed gimmick, but he did go at Trump in like a cool way, saying that the Secret Service was like coming to talk to him. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's kind of interesting that the BET cipher really got him on the watch list. I mean, it was a good like intro to the album, just because it kind of was like, oh my god, like is he gonna do this for 13 songs? Because that could be good or bad, and it wasn't great, but it was a good intro. It kind of built you some hype, and just kind of was like, whoa, what's gonna happen next? But what happened next was called the greatest, but not the greatest. So he raps really fast in this one, which is kind of interesting. And the wordplay has some like fun lines, kind of like some goofy lines, which I don't know if this album is serious or if it's just so self-aware about how ridiculous it is at some points that it's a joke. And that's a big thing I need to distinct, because that changes how I feel about it. But this song was not the greatest, and the beat was not the greatest. I mean, there's a lot of good production, talent-wise, like who did these tracks, but they weren't as good as I wanted them to be, I suppose. I guess I didn't really want anything from this, though, because it came out with no warning. But yeah, so this is the greatest, and let's see, the chorus. And also, I wrote a decent question. First of all, he says, I woke up to honky sounding like me. Not a fan of that line. It's just like painfully cringy. And it just kind of makes, it's like, woke up to honky sounding like me. Like, leave Playboy Cardi alone. He's dissing everybody that does copy things. So stop copying these young rappers if you don't like what they're saying in the first place. And also, is he the greatest? I think it's kind of this common misconception that in the current age, nobody could beat him in a rap battle. Because I think there's a handful of rappers that could beat him in a rap beef. Maybe not standing in front of each other, battle rapping word to word. But if you look at it, like Pusha T and Drake, the beef was based on personal information. And Pusha T won because he had so much dirt. There's so much dirt on Eminem. For example, if there was a story of Adidon, but it was just about Eminem's sexist, misogynistic views that he's had throughout his life, I don't think he could beat you by just responding and just saying like clever things, which he does greatly, but I just don't think he's the greatest now. I think his time's up. Just the same way Jay-Z, he's not the greatest in the game right now. I don't think he's in his prime anymore. Still great music, but not the greatest. And that leads us into Lucky You, which is kind of cool because it featured Joyner, which is pretty interesting to hear him and Joyner on a track together. Because, I don't know, they kind of, I mean, everybody's always kind of drew comparisons between them. And I think Joyner actually held his own, and I really did like him more. Even though a lot of the track, I feel like it's just them sort of talking and fast rhythm, not necessarily rapping fast. I know that might be hard to distinct, but that's just how I interpreted it when I listened. And it makes some good points kind of about rap in its current state, like how it's just, there is a lot of nonsensical songs about drugs, lean, Xanax, but he doesn't say anything revolutionary. For how clever he's supposed to be, he doesn't say anything super clever. He just bashes it. Like he's just bashing a void that is unbreakable. You're never going to say anything, as far as I'm concerned, so profound that it cancels mumble rap. And if anyone could, though, you would think it would be him, but it's not even close. It's really just, they suck. Like, cool. Some of them, compared to lyrical ability from them to you, they do suck. But that's not necessarily why they exist. And also, I sort of feel like mumble rap has kind of become this derogatory word kind of to degrade black culture, like in rap. And it's not necessarily a true reflection of just bad rap music. So it's kind of iffy for him to use that. But I don't know. I don't think he means it in that way. But either way, yeah, Joyner sounded better on the track, just sonically, vocally. Eminem's voice just doesn't sound the same anymore. It's like he sounds like Shady if Shady was smoking too many cigarettes or something. And I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. His voice doesn't exactly have the same effect on me that it does when I listen to like the Marshall Mathers LP. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know. He could sound better, but he doesn't. And then you follow that one by, out of the next 3 tracks, there's actually 2 that I love. Well, 2 aren't, they're not tracks, but the skits. So you get Paul, which is funny because it's just him and his manager, and it's like self-aware. It's like, well, what are you gonna make Kamikaze 2 and diss everybody that dissed diss everybody that dissed the album that was dissing everybody for dissing the album prior to that album? And that was pretty funny because it's like, before this is even out and received, he kind of knows how it's going to get received. He knows it's going to get roasted. He knows not everybody's going to, I mean, LeBron loves it, but he knows not everybody's going to love it, which is interesting that he's self-aware. Makes me, that's what I mean when I say this might be a joke in some sense. Like, I don't think, it's not like he sat down and said, let's write the best conceptual album and win album of the year. I think lyrically, Eminem is somebody who could be a great ghostwriter now because his voice just doesn't sound as good as it did. Like Jay-Z sounds the same, a little older, but he sounds good. But Eminem just doesn't sound the same, but he can still write. But then he just says some edgy things, but that's a different story. So the skit was interesting because it was funny and self-aware, but it's followed by Normal, which is just an outdated version of sort of a misogynistic Eminem love song. And I wasn't huge on that one. The beat was fun. It sounded cool at the end, but I don't want to sound like a pussy, but it just gets too vulgar. Like, it's too... He's just shitting on these women for no reason, really. And he kind of does say that it's maybe a fault of his at the beginning of the song, so it just kind of makes me lose my interest in the track overall. But the production was interesting. I kind of enjoyed it. And the next one is one of my favorites because it's the M Calls Paul skit. And I saw on Sean C's Twitter that maybe he was talking about Sean C on this skit, and I think that would be hilarious if the greatest rapper in the world, you know, the #1, was dissing a YouTube music reviewer with less than like 500,000 subscribers. That would just be so funny because he also says he's so off the radar that it takes Charlemagne's comments so long to get to him, but he hears a 300,000 subscribed YouTube channel and he puts it in a studio album. So if that's what I've heard, it might be about Joe Budden, but Sean C made a line about wind chimes, And that's what Eminem was referring to. So it could definitely be that, and that would just be kind of funny to me if he actually was going at him. But that was another cool skit because it was self-aware, and he was like, I'm driving to find them, and you could hear the GPS, and it was just kind of funny. So then, next song you get Stepping Stone, which is kind of like a tribute to D12, and I will be honest, this one actually wasn't bad. Eminem raps pretty good in hindsight, like his reflectory raps on the group and what happened when Proof died and it falling apart and the way he felt, but also how he felt he used them as stepping stones to lift himself. It's all interesting, and there's some cool storytelling here. I mean, you look at Stan, you know he's a good storyteller, right? That speaks for itself, but I'm just not sure if right now, at the current state of music, if anyone wants to hear the story. Or I don't think the story should have been on this album. I think what he needs to do is not drop an album of rage, you know? Like, just take a step back and breathe and write some great stories, like some apologetic raps about him being sorry for his misogyny and homophobia, or some things about personal or business inquiries that he had that fell through, and just relationship, like actual songs, and then just kind of like smooth production and just talk to us, kind of like spoken rap, like kind of like the beginning of I Thought About Killing You, but a little like not that spoken word, a little rap, a little more rap than that, but just kind of like retire with a calm goodbye and not end it on a bad note. And this song would fit an album like that. So that's why I don't really like it on this album, but it's okay. I mean, it wasn't terrible, and I might listen to it here and then if I'm ever on like a D12 binge. To end the binge, I might put this song on. And yeah, the beat actually is like not the greatest, and the song is kind of long, like 5 minutes. But at least Eminem's singing could have been worse. It wasn't bad. So the chorus wasn't awful. But then you get Not Alike, the next song. Literally sounds like the Look Alive beat, and I couldn't get over that. And it's Eminem and Royce, but it's not as good as Caterpillar's. So Caterpillar was a way better use of their talents. And this song really just didn't pique my interest. He took some more shots at mumble rappers, if I'm not mistaken, on this song. But the beginning of it was very cringy. I mean, on every song he takes shots at mumble rappers. Like, you're making a lot of songs that don't mean nothing. And it's like, we know that, dude. You're not the first to say that. The first person that I, like, really called, like, Hobson did it before you, dude. He did it, like, years ago on Illmind 5. Like, that was the first time I mean, I'm not that old, but that was the first time I ever heard somebody dedicate a song to dissing mumble rap music. And that was one of the first rap songs I ever really listened to, but it didn't really do anything. I don't listen to mumble rap, and I'm not like, wow, you know, like Hobson was right. And I don't even like to refer to it as mumble rap. I'm only doing that because that's how he does it, so I'm trying to give it context to the way he's talking about it. And then the next song is Fall, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of good in a cringy way. Like the chorus, the fact stuff, like, man, that was cringy, but it was funny. Like, I listened to it a couple more times other than just my listens of the album because it made me laugh. And I think that was the goal. I don't think it wasn't supposed to be cringy because it had cringy lines. He raps about poop and crap too much, and it's just like, no, stop rapping about poop. But he took some shots at ghostwriting, which I'm sure throughout this album there were shots at Drake because he mentioned ghostwriting quite a bit, but he also talked about how people want to copy Drake. So it was kind of like, are you roasting Drake? Or, because obviously other people ghostwrite, and it's kind of old to take shots at Drake for it. I mean, let's just not beef with Drake right now, okay? Eminem, because he went through a lot, okay? What Pusha T did to him was a lot. And then Kamikaze, it's another one I like, one of the other two. Good beat. This is the one I saw LeBron singing. It's got a good beat. Some of the disses are good, like the Joe Budden one, it's entertaining. A couple of just the other boy bag disses. I'm not a fan of the Tyler one, because I think it censors it even on the explicit version, but obviously he's referring to Tyler in a homophobic way still in 2018 after he's been rapping for 20 years. He's still doing that. And I do think, I'm glad Twitter roasted him for that. And I saw a couple people complaining about it, but it's unnecessary because it's not a diss to Tyler's artistry. Tyler has a Grammy nominated album. Stop acting like he's not an artist. And please refer to Earl Sweatshirt is Earl Sweatshirt, not Earl the Hooded, whatever. Like, he's just, I don't know, what did Earl say? Actually, maybe Earl did say something because Earl's pretty outspoken on Twitter. But I don't know. I know what Tyler said was just like about Walk on Water and that one Shady project. But he was right about the Shady project. That was bad because it was like Revival, the prelude. Like, it was Revival before Revival, if you ask me. And then Walk on Water I actually thought was a good song just because it was another hindsight storytelling song. But Tyler's allowed to have that small opinion. Don't insult him for being gay for that. It's just like, insult him in a lyrical way and make him retaliate on you. And I'm not even gonna lie, I really like, okay, say they had a rap beef, Earl Sweatshirt, Tyler the Creator versus Eminem. What could Eminem say about them that would actually change someone's public view on them other than Tyler's gay? What does he know about them? I feel like he's too out of touch, and Tyler's pushing the culture forward, and I'm sure when Earl drops something, it's going to be crazy. So Eminem just needs to kind of like, I think, watch himself here, because there's some young cats that I think if he says their name, like, I've seen a couple people at Brockhampton tweeting about this. These people aren't afraid of him. Like, people don't want to diss him, not because they're afraid of him, because they like him. And he inspired most of these people, so they don't want to roast him and come back at him. For that reason, I saw a tweet. It was like, Eminem's like the dog you loved growing up, and now it's just shitting all over the house. But you don't want to be the one to put it down. But somebody's got to put it down. Or you just got to deal with the shit until it dies. That part wasn't in the tweet, but that's the obvious implication. But yeah, he flows nice on Kamikaze. Good wordplay. It's very self-aware. Like a couple of the other tracks, it seems like he kind of knows what he's doing. Yeah, like I said, it's one of the two that I liked. I mean, some of the wordplay, same with On the Ringer, was too much. He tried too hard, but most of it, I did enjoy. And this was followed up by Nice Guy, which I didn't. I fucking hated that song. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was just cringe. And I'm not even gonna say anything other than that. And then Good Guy came on, which was a little better. It seemed sincere. He was saying like some heartfelt lyrics. I mean, there was some more sexist, misogynistic language, which was kind of cringy, but I don't know. He seemed like he kind of cared. And just in the way Eminem does. Like, he cared, but he couldn't really get heartfelt. Like, it's almost like he's like Rick Sanchez, okay, from fucking Rick and Morty. There is just a border that prevents him from being too emotional, and if he's getting there, he has to say something misogynistic or homophobic, and he did. So, but otherwise, it was a decent song. And then Venom sounded like literally any Eminem song that's ever been in a movie, like the ones from Southpaw, both of them. I think there was like Kings Never Die or something, and then there was Phenomenal, and then Survival from Call of Duty. This just sounds like an Eminem movie song, typical Eminem beat, typical wordplay, nothing crazy, but an interesting outro. I kind of consider Good Guy to be the last song. This just seems like it was on there for movie promo, so I could care less. It was kind of like how King's Dad was on the J-Rock album. Like, I don't fucking care anymore, okay? I'll probably hear it 100 times on the album soundtrack, but that's how he ended it. It's how he chose to do it, with his surprise fucking Kamikaze. But yeah, so that's the tracks of the album. Overall, I think it would have been better if it was just 2 tracks, if he would have just dropped Kamikaze and The Ringer. I mean, I think that would have just been better. I don't know, if he would have just said, here's 2 tracks. Like, don't respond to a really bad, cringy album with a decent album with cringy moments. I don't know. I'm going to have to give it time. I might do final thoughts on this one. I said I would do that with The Boss one. I haven't, but I was moving into school. I was moving all my shit, and I've just been busy all week, first week of classes, and might do a video about that. But yeah, I don't know. Once I kind of settle and see how I feel about the album, how self-aware is it? Is it a troll? I've heard rumors of a second one. like actually coming out with higher level features. I heard like 50 Cent. Maybe if that comes out and it's a 2-piece thing, I can kind of gauge it better. But right now, I'm not going to say he was falling in your reach to grab something, because I think he's still, at the end of the day, he's still Eminem. So I don't think he needs to do any of this. Maybe he just wanted to. It seemed like he's having fun. I guess that's what's important. It's not going to be in my heavy rotation. I might listen to The Ringer a couple times, and Kamikaze is probably my favorite track, just because he's dissing people, but it sounds good. And if it didn't have the Tyler diss, I probably would like it more. But I'll still listen to it. He's allowed to say what he wants, I guess. And I don't know, I enjoy it. It might end up in a playlist or something. Same with The Ringer. But other than that, I don't really see... Like, if I'm on a D12 binge and I want to get off of it, I might listen to Stepping Stone just to be like, yeah, D12's officially over. He said it. So other than that, I don't really see why I'd listen to... I mean, the song with Joyner, maybe it'll grow on me because Joyner's in it. But other than that, I'm not really seeing anything. I have the track list right here. That's why I'm looking. I'm not really seeing anything that makes me say, oh, I'm going to listen to that again. But for now, just those 2 songs. So, I don't know. Overall, could have been better. Could have been worse. 2 good tracks. I think it could have just been 2 tracks, kind of like Drake's Scary Hours. And it could have just been called Kamikaze. And it could have been 1 song, really. It could have been like a fucking 7-minute song. Or like honestly, he could have just put the 2 together. Take the songs off The Ringer, put them over the Kamikaze beat, and just roast the fuck out of everybody, drop it, and then not say anything and let it sit for a while. But he gave us an album which is tough to digest out of nowhere, because you have no hype, there's no singles, it's all brand new, 13 new songs. Some of them are long, it's 54 minutes, it's a lot. But I don't know, I think it could have been executed better, but I think it was executed the way he wanted it. And I know a lot of people like this one. I've seen some love for it on Twitter. I've seen some hate. I mean, a lot of white people who wear like K-Swiss shoes like it. So that's an interesting demographic. My brother, he's 13 or 14, and he likes it. But he said, you don't know. It's kind of funny. I saw on his Snapchat, you don't like real hip hop, or you don't know real hip hop if you don't like this. And I was gonna send him the link to this review, but I'll let him be 13, you know, or 14, whatever. When I was that age, I would have said the same thing if this album came out. So you gotta let a person live. But overall, I don't give scores, but you listen to it yourself, form your own opinion. Drop it below in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Leave a comment on your opinions just so we can talk about it. If you actually comment opinions, I'll be down there replying. I love a conversation. And if you're real interesting, I'll be glad to indulge you and further the discussion on this album. And if my thoughts change from this being just a mediocre to decent project with good wordplay with a couple cool disses, if that changes, I'll do a final thoughts video. But for right now, that's how it stands. That's what I think. 2 good songs, a bunch of songs, a couple funny songs, a couple cringy songs, some funny skits. Nothing crazy, nothing new. It didn't change my life. It was cool that it came out, gave me something to do, but it didn't change my life. So let me know how you feel. Thank you for watching. Peace out.